Hi there, welcome back to Linzioli Teaches. This week I'm going to be teaching you about open-hold flutes. So there's a slight difference between playing an open-hold flute and a close-hold flute. Now most open-hold flutes have some of their keys open, like in the last video where I showed you that mine had corks in them. Not all of the keys had open holes. But instead of taking the corks off of my flute and then having to try and get them back on again, it's not very easy to do that. So usually you only want to switch a couple of times. So once you decide to go to open hold, you usually stay there, you don't go back and forth. So I figured for this video though that I would bring out my bamboo flute. So here it is. As you can see, it's a lot simpler, it's also a lot cheaper. You can pick up these bamboo flutes for like $50. They're pretty much just toys. But if you look at them, there's no keys, there's just holes. Okay? And this creates quite a difference in how you're going to play the instrument. Because instead of just putting your hands on the little buttons and pushing buttons, you actually have to cover these holes. You have to cover them completely so that no air is escaping. Okay? If you don't, then let's say I just put all these on and I try to play. You can hear how I get that kind of really gross sound, and that's because the note is split up into a whole bunch of little notes at that point, and you're getting a whole bunch of conflicting tones, and it sounds very gross. But if you can get all of them covered completely, then you can get a nice note. But again, if I go and then I lift a finger, I'm either going to get a different note or I'm going to mess everything up. Right, so once I lifted a bunch of fingers a little bit, I was hardly getting a note anymore. So this week I'm actually going to do Linzioli plays on my bamboo flute, which will be an interesting challenge. It has different fingerings, so you have to learn how to play it separate from your normal flute. But your mouth actually stays the same, you just don't get a mouth plate, you just blow across this hole at the end. So that's the basics of open hold flute. One neat thing you can add though, if you get really good at open hold flute, you can actually tune notes by slightly uncovering them. It doesn't work very good on a bamboo flute like this, just due to the nature of how imprecise the instrument is made. It's very picky, you need to have all the holes covered. But on a professional flute like what mine was, if you actually slightly uncover a note, you can sort of retune it. And in fact, if I look over here on my fingering chart, there are actually some fingerings such as this one, where you need to have half of a hole covered. Alright, so you can hear I'm kind of bending the pitch of that note. It doesn't work all the time, but once you learn how it works and when it works, you can actually use it to make your instrument more in tune. Especially if you're playing on a bamboo flute like this and you want to play with other people, this thing is not in tune with anything. So you need to be very careful if you want to do that. Anyway, that's the basics of playing with an open hold flute. It can obviously get much more advanced, and it can be very, very difficult to play sometimes depending on what's going on. But thanks for watching. Have a great day.